Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Ahead of the Crypto Curve, where we are creating Satoshi millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, one Bitcoin at a time, one Satoshi at a time. And ladies and gentlemen, that means you. I am your host, Najah Roberts, and it is my mission in life to lead my people out of financial slavery. Today is January 9th, 2023. And what a great day it is. It's a little bit cloudy, but you know what? For the most part, I am on fire for my family, for my community, for my listeners, for each and every one of you, naysayer, whatever it is. I am here for you. There is so many incredible things that I have been studying this weekend. I had an opportunity to talk with some folks up in Milwaukee. Some of them are new to cryptocurrency. Some of them have been in the cryptocurrency space for a while, but I did a Zoom just to really talk to them about the state of our economy. And so, some of those things I really want to share with you because I was hot on fire after I got a chance to really sit down and watch what the Federal Deposit of Insurance Corporation was actually saying in their meeting. And ladies and gentlemen, it might scare you to know what the individuals that are supposedly insuring our money in the banks is actually saying in their meetings. And this is a closed door meeting, but for whatever reason, this video actually leaked out. And I know I can't show you a video, but today I decided to maybe let you listen to two clips so you can see that I am not going crazy. Something is terribly wrong with our financial system, and we are sitting smack dead in the middle of what looks like a wealth transfer with some real agendas happening. And so, with that, we're just going to start with our cryptocurrency quote, and then we will get into this Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation systematic resolution advisory committee meeting. I mean, it was just unbelievable the things that I was hearing. So I just tried to get a couple quotes, a couple of clips so that you all could hear for yourself. But the cryptocurrency quote for the day is by myself, and it just basically says the noisy obstacles in the cryptocurrency space are exactly what you see when you take your eye off stacking enough Bitcoin for your family, which should be your end goal. And so this space is so noisy. There's a lot of things going on. I think just in general with our media, with our government, when they don't want you to see something, they create all these other obstacles and all this other noise to get your attention diverted in another direction. And that is why I say the noisy obstacles in the cryptocurrency space are exactly what you see when you take your eye off stacking enough Bitcoin for your family, which should be your end goal. Najah Roberts. And so, ladies and gentlemen, after we come forward, we are going to delve into. I'm going old money on you all today because I just really feel like you need to understand why holding and controlling a currency that you control, that you dictate what happens to it, is critically important because we got to have a conversation about these banks, ladies and gentlemen. I just cannot continue to sit here quietly when I know what I know. Absolutely know what I know. So I'm going to share with you when we come forward what is going on again with the FDIC. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right. Thank you, sir. Yeah, absolutely. No, no, no. That's cool. That's I love it. All right. All right. I have some new music. I got to figure out how to let you all hear it, but I had a new introduction that started today, and I absolutely love the song. It was produced by EP. He is Irvin Pope. If you Google EP, he's one of the producers for the game, and he came out with some incredible music. And we played it today on the show for the first time, but I got to figure out how to make it work where you can actually hear what's going on. So we're going to jump into this conversation about the FDIC so you all really understand what's going on. We got just about 60 seconds before we go back on. And I'm going to say, hey, Sean, 15 seconds. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome forward. Welcome forward. We were going to get into the conversation about the FDIC, Federal Deposit of Insurance Corporation. So, as I started digging on Friday and Saturday and started really looking at this meeting that was held on November the 9th, 2022, it was closed door, but it was actually recorded. And there was a video that actually surfaced. And it's a long, boring meeting. And you can look at some of the resolutions and you can look at some of the other documentation that comes out of the meeting. And you're also today going to get an opportunity to listen to two clips that I found that say exactly what I've been trying to make sure that our community understands. First and foremost, the FDIC Systematic Resolution Advisory Committee, which is who met and which is who was having a conversation about the American people's money. And when your money is invested in the bank, you need to know what is going on. So I'm going to just back up really quick and share with you that the FDIC is supposed to insure the money that you put in the bank. And if the bank goes insolvent or something happens with your money in the bank, the insurance is supposed to kick in and make sure that you're good, that your money is protected. Well, first and foremost, let me say this, and this is a sore spot probably for some bankers that are listening to me today. But all of the disclosures and all of the things that you sign when you open an account at the bank, literally, ladies and gentlemen, gives the bank your money. It no longer belongs to you. They have the autonomy to do what they want, when they want, and how they want with your money. But aside of that, the FDIC still is supposed to be in place in case the money that you quote unquote kind of loaned to the bank temporarily till you come and get it allows them to really protect that money that you've actually loaned out to the bank. And so I'll say it that way. It helps you understand. And the FDIC states that your money is insured up to $250,000. Now, some people are ill prepared for what I'm about to say, especially if you've got money in the bank in several different banks because you've reached the $250,000 threshold. Now, there are those of you out there that absolutely have over 250,000, and so you were smarter than the average bear and you went and you took the rest of the money and put it in another bank, and maybe you had more than 250 in that bank, and then you went and opened up another account so that you made sure that you did not cross over the $250,000 threshold. Well, I have news for each and every one of you that may have done that or know someone that did that. There is only $250,000 insurance per depositor. So that means if you have monies in five different banks and any of those amounts are over $250,000, ladies and gentlemen, you are not insured for the rest of that money. It is per depositor, per entity. So, in order for you to be FDIC insured up to $250,000 on something other than the $250,000 that you have in a particular account, it has to be in another entity. So, it would have to be in a corporation or in an LLC or something like that, because each entity is insured or is guaranteed to be able to get up to $250,000 back. And so they don't share that information with you. So there is something else that's going on that you need to know before you listen to the clip that I'm about to share with you. There is a Dodd-Frank Act that came in, Dodd, D-O-D-D. It is a Dodd-Frank Act that came out that they would no longer bail out the banks. It really comes from the statement where you always hear the banks are too big to fail. But the Dodd-Frank Act came out and it does not allow for the banks to be bailed out. And basically, it's called a bailout for that very reason. We saw those bailouts in the housing crisis 2008, 2009, where the banks were getting bailouts, but they also took possession of the properties that were being foreclosed on. And somehow they twisted that whole fiasco into the fact that buyers and occupants of houses were the greedy ones. We took out option arm loans. Yes, we did. I'm one that had several option arm loans on my properties. But it wasn't because I was being greedy, because it was a great option at the time that I was signing for those loans. It sounded like a good thing to get my stuff in order. And then in 3, 4, 5 years, when this option arm was going to be in existence and start to really start to show up, by that time, I would have my monies in place and I wouldn't bust the sweat to be able to pay these mortgages on these different properties that I had. And so some kind of way they twisted this whole situation into us as consumers being greedy and not the bankers taking advantage of what they did to actually collapse the financial system. So that being said, there were supposed to be no more bailouts. But ladies and gentlemen, there's a such thing, and that is called a bail-in. And guess whose money is at risk for this bail-in that they're expecting very, very soon. And so I'm going somewhere with this. So I want you all to really understand exactly what is transpiring. So right now, the FDIC is sitting at the table at this resolution advisory committee meeting, and they're talking about what exactly they should be sharing with the general public as not to actually create a public panic. And I know it sounds like we may be having a little bit of technical difficulties, but I'm going to make sure you all get this information. And for those of you that are in the virtual Underground Railroad, I'll go a little bit deeper. We have a short period of time here to make sure that you get this information. But I am going to share this clip with you in hopes, ladies and gentlemen, that you really understand how they feel about the money that you have and why they're not sharing what is about to take place. If there is a financial collapse, there will be a bail-in, and a bail-in is utilizing the monies that have been deposited in the bank to help the banks do what they need to get back on their feet. And from where I see, or from where I sit, they don't need our help because they're getting a massive amount of money. But they got to make excuses for needing to extract money from everybody's bank account to solve the banking issues if this industry crashes. But you got to know this is November 9th, 2022, exactly a month ago today. This is what was being said at the table. And so I want each and every one of you to listen in close to this clip. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I am. I don't know if you all got that, but this gentleman just said the American people have full faith in the banking industry more than some of the people in this room. These are the people that insure our money in the bank. And this is what they're saying. You need to be scared. Now, I know a lot of you are always saying Najah is bringing the heat. This is the heat, ladies and gentlemen. And so I am not a financial advisor anymore. But based on what I heard in this meeting, you have all the reason in the world to be afraid of your money being in the bank. And there's one more clip that you're going to need to hear because they think this is funny. While you watch this video, you will see them with smirks on their face, giggling, and a couple of other things that are very, very disheartening. And so we've got to understand the reason why those of us that are so adamant about adding Bitcoin to our portfolio because it is something that these particular individuals do not control, they cannot take from us, and they cannot allow to happen what you are about to hear in this other clip. So listen to this and we'll move forward with what I am going to suggest to our community. So we're crowd of people that are in the institutional side. So, ladies and gentlemen, you hear it. Some of the individuals that have massive attorney firms, if they want to know this information, they'll dig and find it. But for the general public, I don't think it's a good idea for us to blast this information because it's unintended consequences. That's scary. And so, as we move into understanding what we may need to do, I'm just going to tell you like this. When we talk as financial advisors, and I'm not a financial advisor anymore on purpose, we talk about diversifying your portfolio. So, first and foremost, we tell everybody that you need 3 to 6 months of an emergency fund. That's money that you can actually put your hands on in an emergency. And so if you have 3 to 6 months emergency fund in the bank and the ATM shut down and the banks close because they need a bank day or whatever happens when they're getting ready to need this bail in, you have no access to your money. So I am going to share with you my thoughts about keeping all of your emergency fund in the bank. I think it's a problem. And a lot of us have amnesia. Do you remember when COVID hit and the banks were closed? The ATMs weren't closed, but the banks were closed. And so a lot of people that I actually talk to and advise say, well, you know what? I keep my money, the cash, not the actual money in the bank, but they keep the actual cash inside of their safe deposit box. Let's think about this. If you have 3 to 6 months worth of emergency fund in a safe deposit box and something goes down again, like COVID, and the bank is closed, where you can't physically get into that safe deposit box, I'm going to give you a memo, ladies and gentlemen. I had several clients that could not access the funds or anything else that they had inside the safe deposit boxes in the bank because the bank was closed during COVID. And when they finally started taking appointments to let people in to get into their safe deposit boxes, it was a month wait to get that done. And so, for those of you that continuously say that they can't do that, it can't happen. It did happen. And it just happened a couple of years ago. And we got amnesia about the possibilities of them doing whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. Now, it was a different situation because we're talking about COVID. But, ladies and gentlemen, what stops them right now today from keeping you from taking your deposits from the bank? Nothing. Nothing at all. There is nothing in place that would stop them from taking your money and doing a bail in. And you just heard those gentlemen right now saying that there's a problem that is coming forward, and we need to let the public know, but we don't really want to let the public know because it's going to cause public panic. And what's going to happen is people are going to run and get their monies from the bank, and it's going to cause another onslaught of situations. And so I want our community to know to be very diligent and be on your P's and Q's as it relates to your money and your emergency funds. So, 3 to 6 months is what you should have. So, I'm going to make sure that I back up just a little bit and make sure you're understanding what I'm saying, because there are a lot of you out there that don't have 3 to 6 months in an emergency fund. And if you do, it's stored in the bank. Now, this gentleman is just saying that they're going to do a bail in, which unfortunately will affect your 3 to 6 months emergency fund when you get it back. If you get it back, I'll say it that way. So, what should be happening? If you were making or spending $5,000 a month. I'm just going to get a round number. This hopefully, is nobody's situation in particular, because I know I have clients and people that I work with. And so I'm not giving out anybody's information. But if you are living and having to pay out $5,000 a month, that means that you need to have $15,000 at the least, 30,000 also, if we're talking 3 to 6 months worth of money as your emergency fund. A lot of people don't even have that to begin with. But if you do happen to have $15,000, which would be your 3 months emergency fund, it should not all be held in the bank, because you do not have access to it in the event that something comes about that they're planning for. I'm just going to keep it 100. You need to make sure that you have that money liquid in your possession. I'm not saying keep $15,000 around the house, but you've got to figure out how to make sure that you can put your hands on that money when you need it. When we come forward, after news, traffic, and sports, I'm going to get into some of the basic financial rules that you need to live by in this climate right now, where our FDIC is talking about not letting the public know what's about to come down the pipe. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to continue when we come forward. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to mute out and we're going to jump into a quick commercial here. I don't even know if we have a commercial, but we are definitely going to make sure that each and every one of you are getting this information, because they are not sharing it with us. So we've got to be very, very careful. So this is about a 6-minute break, and I usually take this to make sure that we get our articles and stuff together. And I'm having technical difficulties, so I'm going to see if I can log out. This is cutting up here. Hold on. I'm going to try to see if I can get back in without any feedback. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. This is a think we're coming in a little bit clearer on the radio. I know we're clear on the Zoom, but we shall see. So we got some good stuff coming up here. We're going to start jumping back into oh wow. All right. We are okay, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to jump in. So while I'm doing this, please go follow me on social media. I'm Najah Roberts. Help me to actually report individuals that have fake accounts. So if it's Najah Roberts and it's got two S's or two R's or two T's, it's got an underscore, it's got a dot, it's got a number, that is not me. And I definitely need your help because they are all over the place copying my social media. So we are going to get back to it. All right. Thank you. All right. 30 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back in here. 30 seconds. All right. We're working through this. We're going to make sure we get this thing done. All right, welcome forward. Welcome forward. So I was talking about uh, five. Well, I don't even want to say five because I may go into some more basic financial rules to live by. But I was talking about your emergency fund. And so someone would ask me specifically, where should I keep some of my emergency fund? Not all of it. You've got to keep some places and some other places. But I keep some of mine in Bitcoin specifically because I know that I could cash out and pull out whatever money, whatever currency I need anywhere in the world if I hold it in Bitcoin. And so I am holding some of mine in Bitcoin, but I'm not saying that you have to do that. But I am saying, ladies and gentlemen, that you should have a couple of $1,000s on hand in the event of an emergency. The bank is not giving you any interest on it anyway. And if the FDIC is having these types of meetings and sharing with everyone that there is a problem that is on the horizon, we need to be thinking twice about holding all of our money in the bank. And I'm not saying run out and go get your money and just hold on to it, but just really be strategic and pay attention to what's going on around you. So, one of the basic financial rules to live by is that you do need 3 to 6 months in an emergency fund. And I don't care who you talk to, your financial advisor should be telling you that specifically. If all of your money is invested in something, that's a problem. You've got to have and you've got to be liquid at some point, just in the event you need to go to the gas station, if you need to go to the grocery store, the internet is down, any of those things. And that's for Bitcoin, that's for just regular money, anything. You've got to have and be able to put your hands on some cash, some of that physical fiat, because the gas stations would still accept it. A lot of the mom and pop places will still accept it. And at least you'll be able to put gas in your car to get where you need to go, or even go to the counter at the airlines at the airport and just pay cash for your ticket to go where you need to go, because the banking systems may be down or something of that sort. The other thing that I am suggesting, again, I'm not a financial advisor anymore on purpose, is that you're saving 20% of your income in some sort of long term investment. I say it over and over. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a get rich quick space. The cryptocurrency space is not a get rich quick space. But guess what else is not a get rich quick space? The old money space. And the reason why I know this is because many of us have not gotten rich quick. We haven't even gotten rich long term, because we have been doing everything they have told us to do since we've been in elementary school. We've gone to school to get a good job so that we can do the things that we need to do to save to become wealthy. And it just has not happened. But we need to be ensuring that moving forward, that our future looks different than our past. So I am suggesting that we save at least 20% of our income in some sort of long-term investment. Now, again, I'm not going to get into what that is. I'm definitely not saying that it needs to be in Bitcoin. You do need to add Bitcoin to your portfolio, which is one of the basic financial rules that I would say that's next up on my list. Add Bitcoin to your portfolio, no matter what you're doing. Whatever you're saving, whatever you're doing, just add a little bit of Bitcoin to your portfolio. I am going to say this, and this is a hard one because Christmas just passed. And even if you didn't have the money to buy that gift for that loved one, you went out and you used your credit card. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to be holding close to a zero credit card debt at this time. So it's not good to have a zero amount owed on your credit card because of the algorithms that need to give you your credit scores for your for your credit. But you need to at least pay those credit cards down to where you're not, let's just say your credit limit is $10,000, but now you've gone out for Christmas and you spent about 8,500. You should pay that down. You should be paying those credit cards down. My audio went out on this radio, which is terrible. Let's see here. We're going to have to jump back in, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it may come back, but it has not. So bear with me as we figure out what the technical difficulty. I don't know. It went out. Can you hear me now? Wow, this thing is, I don't know what's happening with it today. All right. So as we come forward, you need to be making sure that your credit card debt is close to zero as you can make it without making it zero. So maybe you still have $100 or $1,000 that's still owed, and that's intentional. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. As it relates to your cars and the things that you are driving around, I used to say, drive them until they die, new or used. But I know that our community doesn't necessarily want to be driving in what we would call a hoopty. But I have and still stand by the fact that we need to be very careful with the items that we're buying right now because of the interest rates and because of the fact that the values and the depreciation of the cars are more than they've ever been before. In fact, I live by what I say. My husband and I just recently, unfortunately, had a car that was totaled out, and we had to buy another car. Out of necessity, we have to have a second car dealers. And I listened to